This is a brief tutorial for the game Happy City as played on Board Game Arena. Happy City is a tableau building game where you are trying to create a set of 10 cards and get the most happiness. Happiness is determined by the number of inhabitants, which are this little green icon here, multiplied by the number of hearts that you have in your city, which will be found in various building cards. There are 4 things that you're keeping track of as you're going through the game. This is your money on hand, your hearts and your inhabitants, and then income, which is money that you make at the beginning of every turn. As soon as someone has filled in all 10 of their spaces, the round ends, and the game ends, and whoever has the most score of just multiplying hearts times inhabitants is the winner. So everyone will start out with a happy market card. Doesn't provide any inhabitants or hearts, but it does provide 1 income. Whenever you see this little arrow on a money symbol and it's in your city, that means you get that income. And that will be in your city, in your tableau, and after at the beginning of each turn, you will get that much money. The other thing that you'll notice, so at the beginning, there are 5 different market cards, and in this expert variant you are drafting, so you are picking which of these market cards you would like to have. Now, why does it matter? Aren't they all the same? Not quite. Each of them have a different color or type, and the different types will appear in the various buildings as well. And you get when you get the various types that fulfill the requirements of these black special cards, special buildings, then you can also take one of these buildings as well. So for instance, if I had 1 yellow, 2 blue cards, and 1 purple, then I could take this card and add it to my city. And so I may think, well, I should get a blue because I really want this one and it needs 2 blues. So I'll add this to my city first so I have a blue card already. So that might determine which one you want to pick in your drafting. So it's something to pay attention to. These special building cards give you various abilities or ways to score points. For instance, this one and this one give you extra income for every certain color of card in your city. This one lets you, at the end of the game, duplicate someone else's special building. Or if there isn't one that you want, then you can just do a random one from special buildings that are in the box. This one lets you, after you play it, pay the lowest price possible for the coins or for the buildings that come out of these decks. Now, these are all mostly special ability cards, but there are cards that give you extra hearts or inhabitants towards end game scoring as well. There are also these 3 cards that are here that anybody can buy each of these, but there's only 1 of each. And so once it is bought, then it is no longer available. Sorry, let me rephrase that. There's only 1 available here because there are only 2 players, but if there were 3 players, there would be 2 of each available, and if there were 4 players, there would be 3 of each available. So there are a limited number of those that are available to purchase whenever you want. So once you have your market card, your initial market card, and those have been drafted, then the first player will start and will take their turn. So let's get to that point. So on your turn, you may uncover up to 3 building cards that you may purchase from. Now, these are the 3 decks, and you can see the costs of the cards in these decks here, where this says 1, 2, and 3. These cards all cost 1, 2, or 3. These cards all cost 4 or 5, and these all cost 6 through 9. You, as the player, can choose which deck you want to uncover during your turn. up to 3 cards. So I could choose to uncover 3 cards at the top deck, 1 of each, 2 of these, and 1 of these. Obviously, it would, in this case, because I only have 3 money to begin with, 2 to start, and then 1 for my income, I will probably choose just to uncover 3 of these, because these are the only ones I can afford. And so that is the case. And now you can see 3 cards are available to purchase, and they all have different various things on it. This one, you can see they give in, some of them give income. These both do. This one gives income and an inhabitant, but it costs more, and this one only costs 2 for an income, but it's a yellow. Maybe you need a yellow for one of these requirements. This one only costs 1, gives an income, but you also have -1 in your inhabitants. So towards an end of game scoring, you subtract 1 to your inhabitants because of this. However, for a very first card, that's not a bad choice. It gives you that income, that extra income for a very low cost right up front, and you can probably get plenty of inhabitants later. So that's some decisions you have to make. In this case, the player took the 3 cost card for gaining that inhabitant and gaining the extra income. So on your turn, when it is your turn, not only can you uncover up to 3 buildings, but you can also get rid of a building that is shown currently. So if I want to see what other chances are, like I really don't care about this yellow card, I may get rid of it, so then I can uncover other cards and see and kind of look through the deck to see if there's something I want. Again, up to 3. Or you can decline and not do that. But in this case, the player gets rid of the yellow card. So now there's 1 available. They can uncover 2 more. And now they have a few other options that they can choose from. The other thing that you can do if you can't afford any of the buildings or you just don't want any of them is you can simply take a coin as your turn by clicking up here. I wouldn't recommend that. That's a whole turn that you are wasting. Not wasting, but you are skipping, and there's very few turns. If you're, just think about it, if you're able to build on every turn, that means there's 10 turns for the game, and if you use one of those turns just to gain a single coin, then you've lost 10% of your opportunity to fill in your tableau, and if somebody else has done that 10 times in a row, then or has built all 10 of their buildings in 10 turns, then you will be behind probably. So it's important to think ahead a little bit to know that, to make sure that you have money for the next round, and to kind of plan to be able to build every single turn. And remember, you can choose the buildings from any of these 3 decks. Obviously, though, if you can't afford it, you probably don't want to uncover it. So now you'll notice that this player took this one to get income, but only cost them 1, even though they lose inhabitant. But next time they're going to have 6, so they can look at maybe some of these other decks in order to see if there's something else that they can afford. We're going to skip ahead a little bit so we can see some of the others, but you can see a couple of new types of cards here. These are the hearts that you're getting, that you're multiplying by the inhabitants for a final score. And in this case, again, only cost 1, gives you income, but you lose a heart at the end of the game. Also remember that these are always available to purchase if you can afford them. Actually, before I skip ahead, let me go 1 or 2 more steps, because in this case, the player got a green, an orange, and a purple, which then qualifies them for this hot dog stand. And so here it says you may take a special building. They do, and they add it to their tableau. So that can fill it too. So, if somebody gets 1 or more of these, then your game could only last around eight or nine rounds. So you have to be kind of quick in understanding what those are. Now she, in this case, took some penalties in order to get that quickly, but now everything from this uh, deck only costs one, everything from this deck only costs four, and everything from this deck only costs six. So she will probably start looking at these big cards to try to get some good benefits from that. Let's skip ahead and see what happens. Okay, this is right at the end of the game. We can see that the blue player here has filled up their 10 cards, and so the green player will have one more turn to try and fill up theirs, and then the score will simply be this number times this number, hearts times inhabitants, and whoever has the highest score wins. We can see they're looking for trying to get 3 inhabitants because they have 7 times 4 and they need 7 times 7 to beat 6 times 8 because 6 times 8 is 48. Fortunately, they simply get the 2 inhabitants and the score is 42 to 48. And that is the game. Building up that tableau, trying to get that multiple as high as possible, paying attention to your income, but also looking at these special cards that can give you either points at the end or special abilities along the way. Hope this is helpful.